Welcome everyone. Welcome back to our Wednesday lives every week at 12:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. We get on and we talk about some topics and challenges or share models and tools that really help leaders, financial planners or financial service professionals to feel better, more confident and competent in their roles. So today I've got Bram with me, who is a Belgian-born psychologist. But also what Bram does is he works really extensively with sales professionals and really helps sales professionals with their process, but also with their business development as well, because we need to make sure we got both of those right. So welcome, Bram. Thanks for coming on and thanks for joining me every Wednesday. I've also got Arthur Kalos, and Arthur Kalos is a financial services entrepreneur. He's got his fingers in a few pies. He's also a dealer group owner. He's also a financial planner, and he's also a leader of many staff. So welcome, Arthur, to our session today.
Thank you, Carly. G'day, Bram.
G'day, everybody. Thanks for having us.
So we like to keep these sessions short and sharp, just to get a few bits and pieces that are going to help you that you can apply immediately. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to deal with negativity with staff, but also with clients, and how as leaders or co-workers or business partners or stakeholders can manage this, because it's real, isn't it, Bram? It's out there, it happens, and if we let it go, it sort of seeps into the culture. And when it goes into the culture, that's when the damage really starts to happen. So I'm going to ask you, Bram, to lead us through this, because I know that you've just had a particular situation that's really brought this up for you, and then you were really helping people around that. So over to you.
That's right. Thanks, Carly. Look, this morning, indeed, we had a coaching session with a few clients, and one of them had a very interesting question, which is, he basically asked, how do I deal with negative people around me that consistently really have this negative vibe, negative thinking, see problems all the time? And, from that context, we basically embarked a little bit on a little journey, which I thought was very relevant for what all of here in Spark Tank Coaching do. And so there's two things, really, two sides of the coin as there is most of the time, right? There's us that potentially can be negative, and there's other people around us that can be negative. And I always look like it and say, look, it can always go two ways. If you're coming in from a good space initially and then you see somebody else being negative, you can be dragged into their negativity and allow it to happen because it's a choice. Or you can also have them come your way and become more positive and leave the conversation much better off than you first found them. So it's basically, we move either way. And I think in business, as a business leader, as an advisor to clients, as a leader to our team, we really need to decide whether we want to rock up at our best, shine a bright light, and therefore have an impact in either the culture, the performance, lift people up around us, pick them up where we how we found them, and we can only do that to the extent that we allow ourselves to really flip the switch in our own mind. And so I'm really big on mindset. We spoke a little bit earlier, Carly, about emotional intelligence. And, the program that I, for example, do is called EQ Mastermind. And the idea is really about look, guys, you make a decision with everything, whether you're going to go in a frustration mode and allow something to affect you and throw you off. As soon as you do that, you basically trigger Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law that is on your side and is going to fester and is going to keep more and more. Or you go the other side, which is more on the positive side, and you use what we call brain hacks to talk yourself into the right frame of mind and the right frame of heart. And what do I mean by that is, if you still find some positivity because you focus on finding something good in a situation that you see yourself initially confronted with, you brain hack yourself into high performance mode and allow something more positive to eventuate. And that is completely by choice. But again, mindful of time, really important. You need to catch yourself moving either way of the side of the spectrum. One is where you go into frustration, triggering all negativity, or you going into a state of gratitude and allowing yourself to calm yourself and stay present in the moment so that you can choose the best course of action from there. When you do that, you shine a bright light on your clients, you shine a bright light on your staff, and you can really inspire people to take meaningful action and drive performance or do business. That's as far as I want to go today.
Yeah, love it. Thanks, Bram. Arthur, share with us your thoughts on how you deal with it, or how you deal with it with your staff, but also how you deal with it with yourself. Because sometimes we do, don't we? We get frustrated, we get a bit negative, and we have to snap out of it and get back to the positive side of it.
Yeah, look, it's a very good topic, and so I think from a personal perspective, just shutting down any kind of communication that you may get drawn into from a negative person, and just really keeping it short, sharp, and succinct. Sometimes you feel like you, especially on an email conversation or an exchange, obviously very vigilant around how you type things and what you type down. But I find that what used to happen to me is I get caught in this little exchange where I'd actually get drawn into it, and so with that, the emotion would kind of draw my emotion into it as well. And that would really, disrupt my frame of mind during the day and so forth. So the way I manage any kind of negative communication from any existing person in the business or et cetera, because let's face it, the bigger your business grows and, people are going through, difficult times, I think it's important not to feed it and just to keep it short, sharp and cut it. And or just get on the blower and have a conversation. So not to entertain and overindulge in those types of exchanges, I think from a self-awareness perspective is very, very important. So that's really around the moment and how to deal with those moments. But then there's the long-term dealing of the issue. And so, when I think when looking at your people and having an understanding where everyone sits around their engagement level in your business, I think it's a very important thing to have is a clearly defined vision for the business that everyone's bought into. And so maybe checking in on that, if there's new people that have come into the business and the vision was formed before they're them joining the business, repeat the exercise regularly to make sure that everyone has an input to that. And the framework that I've shared many times before is that, without a vision, there's, confusion and no purpose. And so it really comes down to the individuals to choose whether they're aligned to the culture of the business and the vision of the business, and then making sure that that's made very clear to them in those, consistent, conversations, performance conversations, that if they're not feeling aligned to the business, then it's their choice to continue working in the business. I think the other effect as well is when you come up with the vision and the values of the business, you endorse or you enable everyone in the business to call out behaviors and, and make standards across your people. I've had people in the business, we used to call them like ninjas in the back in the day, where they kind of, make the conversations in the back room and spread their negativity or their non-aligned views of, I guess, the direction of the company with other staff, and then try and reel them into that as well. Like you've got to encourage your staff to call that activity out, to basically say, I'm not having this conversation, and or pull them up on it. But then going and cutting it as soon as possible when that occurs. So I think that's an important thing to detect, being able to detect these conversations, which really comes down to the EQ that you're talking about, Bram, having your finger on the pulse and having those regular checkpoints with your staff. Because once a person in the business doesn't want to, I guess, step up to the vision and the standards of the business, then really they have to be felt that it's really their choice to continue. And really around, what is their long-term, aspiration in the business may not be, I guess, realistic in terms of the way they see themselves and how they carry themselves in the business. So I think that's important to have, the vision, the standards, the values, empower people to call bad behavior out, detecting early, cutting it at the head, having those regular conversations. And, and then to avoid that in future, it's really around, recruiting people that buy into the vision first. And so having that really as part of your recruitment process is the prevention.
Sure. Fantastic. I'm going to close it off really fast because I think you've touched on so many points that I would have touched on. So I don't want to touch on them again. But I do want to say that there's some real clear models around dealing with this. Okay. So I'm going to put my coaching hat on and my leadership hat on. And the first thing is employees need to feel heard. Okay. So if there is negativity or frustration, first step, make sure they feel heard. Okay. I'm always looking for positives out of a negative. Okay, so what's great about this? And as a coach and a leader, I'm looking to move them forward, not back. So what do we do with the information we know and how do we move forward? And I think there's times when we can distance ourselves from negative situations as well. So if they're peers or colleagues, but sometimes I think also we've got to have the courage to be able to stand up and go, hey, I just want to share with you what I'm observing and let them know, because sometimes people are so totally unaware of what they might be going through. So have the courage to be able to share your observations and the impact that it's having. As always, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to all our listeners as well. If you need to reach out to any one of us or you want to find out some more information, then please just send us a message either via LinkedIn or through our emails or through the comments in this live today. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Arthur.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
See you later, everyone.
Have a great day. Cheers.
Bye.